It's still very hard to say vagina in public.
Menopause wasn't even being talked about as much as it was. We need to show women that you can be strong and you can stand in that strength and not apologize.
I'm here with Unreal star Constance Zimmer,
theater director, filmmaker, and women's health advocate Abby Epstein. She was the director for Vagina Monologues. She's currently on a new project called Midlife Monologues.
In Europe, women who age are held up on a pedestal and revered for their wisdom and their experience.
It's okay to have a couple hot flashes, and it's also okay to age.
There's something incredible happening right now. People are actually talking about women's health and changes and not having it be a stigma.
We've basically been collecting stories from women and curating them into a theatrical piece.
Our goal is for the play to come out in 2026. It's the 30th anniversary of the Vagina Monologues in 2026. My motto is just, let us age. Just let us age.
The big silence. It's time to sing.
We're here, Women's Health Summit, LA at Flow Space with She Media. I just got done interviewing Constance Zimmer and Abby Epstein.
It was incredible. You don't want to miss this one. Oh my God.
Yes, we got Desiree here. We just got back from Mexico last night, filming a meditation series that's coming at you. And straight here in LA, the beautiful roof deck here, the sunshine.
So nice. No make right here.
Yes, no make. I know, right?
It's so nice.
I'm not at the beach.
I know.
So I'm about to go on and lead a meditation and a little afternoon hype session on stage.
Yes.
But I was so excited to just interview Constance Zimmer and Abby Epstein. So Constance, you haven't watched the show Unreal.
No, but now I'm just going to. So
yeah, it's the most messed up. It's behind the scenes of filming a reality TV show and dating show, and it is so good. You have to see it.
Okay, I have to.
You would love it. You would love it.
Very my vibe right now.
And she's also on Entourage, but she's also a women's activist. And then Abby, do you remember the Vagina Monologues?
Of course.
It's been around for 30 years. I guess it's coming up on a 30-year anniversary.
Great.
And they are leaning into the Midlife Monologues, which will be on stage, and that'll be out in 2026. So listen to the podcast and they explain what all that is. But this conversation, it's I always go when did I'm midlife? When did that happen? You're no, you're going to live to 100.
Not yet.
Okay.
We're getting there, but
not you, me.
No, I know you, but you're still no. What even is that? No, you're fine.
I know. Well, that's what Constance was saying. Why do we have to put a number on it? Just live your life, have fun. Let's end the stigma around women aging and let us age. Thank the Lord we're here.
I know. Well, there's this whole trend going around on TikTok right now, and everyone's loving it because the whole trend is talking about your 30s and showing photos from your teens or me at 28, and then they have this whole glow up and how 20s are so confusing, and I'll attest to that. I'm confused all the time. I'm always trying to figure myself out. But they show themselves in their 30s and 40s, and they just have this insane glow up. They're confident in who they are. They have more money, more freedom. Maybe left that annoying man behind. Maybe they're finding a new one. They have a family, or if they don't. It's this whole trend about just empowering women and taking the stigma off prime.
Yeah.
And they're oh, me and my prime at 28 when they felt awful, and then they've never felt better than at 45 or 42 or 50. So it's just totally taking the stigma, and it's my favorite trend right now because it makes me excited. I'll be 29 this year. I've been scared of 30s and aging, and then I'm actually, it's gonna be a great decade.
Yeah,
so I'm more sure of myself.
No, 40s great, 50s better. You know who you are. You're more confident. So enjoy this podcast with Constance Zimmer and Abby Epstein, and make sure you share it with someone who needs to hear this as well.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you on this episode.
We're here. We're going to continue this conversation we were having before recording. We're here at the Flow Space Women's Health Summit in LA. Constance Zimmer and Abby Epstein. I just want to pick up where we were off camera talking about the conversations around women and our health and how I just mentioned where I went into early perimenopause, menopause, and how we don't, and how it sometimes I've learned from the podcast, talking to doctors and psychologists, how a lot of times when you come from trauma, that can trigger early health stuff and changes in hormones.
Right. And I think, what I was saying to you is that I feel like that's such an important message because everybody wants to put menopause specifically or perimenopause with a number. And we're all different and we've all been going through life on different paths. And all of our health is related to whether it's our genes, whether it's trauma, whether it's stress or anxiety, environmental issues, things that we hold on and don't talk about. And if we are going to be the generation that finally starts talking about the unsaid, which is what we are doing, it's only going to take away these taboo numbers of that you have to get to this number to have this experience, right? And it's not that anymore. It's about, no, if you don't feel right, something's not right.
Yeah. Isn't that incredible? Like, how does that make you feel that we're the generation that actually is talking about it? Because when I grew up in the 90s with a schizophrenic mother, no one was talking about mental illness and there was no information. And like, there's something incredible happening right now and both of you with your midlife monologues, which we'll get into, and what you're doing. It's like, I feel very honored to be in living right now where people are actually talking about women's health and changes and not having it be a stigma.
It's true. But I think, somebody who's made a bunch of documentaries on women's health, so maybe I think you have to be very careful because a lot of times these conversations get co-opted to sell things to women and to market things to women. And they get co-opted in this capitalistic way. And, I was just talking about this with the doula from, the audience, where it's kind of like, you hear about this menopause gold rush and everything. So I think you have to be careful because it's like, I see this double-edged sword because at the same time, we want to be so empowering, right? About this time and age and changes. And if you need HRT, you get your HRT and you make yourself feel good. But then on the other hand, there's like a flip side, which is like, it's also okay to age.
Yeah.
And it's okay to have a couple hot flashes and you don't have to like medicate or take hormones to get through if you don't like need them. And now I do see it flipping where I see a lot of millennials are now getting into this in their 40s and getting on estrogen before they even have a symptom, so I'm always like, I think it's the documentarian in me that I'm like, yes, it's amazing. We're talking about it, but like keep your eyes open and just see who's paying for the conversations.
Yeah. Abby, what are your thoughts on HRT or progesterone, estrogen, and Constance too? I'm not on anything, but I do get sold a lot.
You get pushed. Do you get pressured a lot? Like you should be on?
Yeah, but I'm not on anything.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's like, I'm actually just finishing my certification as like a midlife menopause coach. And I think these bioidentical hormones are so incredible. Like when you compare it to like the birth control pill, which is, synthetic hormones, it's an endocrine disruptor. It's, very toxic like thing to swallow. These bioidentical hormones are like a whole other world from that. Like these are great tools. They're amazing tools. And I think that the problem with them now, right, is that they're only accessible to certain women who can go to certain doctors or afford this. And like the vast majority of the country, if you go out around the United States, like women are having a really hard time, like getting them prescribed, it's very, very hard. So I think that they're still probably like super underused. But they're incredible tools, especially for mental health.
Okay. So you have directed the Vagina Monologues. With over 200 actors that you directed with. And also Constance, I just realized I loved Unreal. The most fucked up show ever. So good. So good. I was like, wait, I know that voice. I know that face. So good. How do you choose roles that you take on?
Well, let me tell you something. I wish I could choose the roles that I take on. Sometimes you basically take what you're even given the opportunity to take.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think I've been very fortunate because I do believe that Dana Gordon in Entourage was the beginning of stronger female roles being written, especially on a show that was mostly a male-dominated show.
Yeah.
And it was what launched my entire career into playing these very strong, unfiltered women, which I think I fought for a while because I was the quirky sitcom actress and I didn't like being a really forward marching, unfiltered woman. And then I thought, wait a minute. These women are incredible. Mm-hmm. We need more of them out there. We need to show women that you can be strong and you can stand in that strength and not apologize. And so I wish there were more roles out there like that.
That's very powerful
and
role.
So I'm very grateful when they do happen to be in my vicinity. But even when they're in my vicinity, sometimes they're far out of reach because there are so few great roles for women over 50 specifically. There's a lot of us in line for those.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like every job is such a gift.
Yeah.
And I take it very seriously that I have a lot of women to represent in that role.
Yeah. So good. I binge watched. My husband's like, what are you watching? I was like, this is so good. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So then, Abby, with your experience with Vagina Monologues, how did that come about?
I started working on the show off Broadway.
Yeah.
And, we had, like hundreds of actresses, and I ended up directing it all over the world, and then ended up doing a documentary about violence against women that came out of the show on the V-Day movement to end violence against women and girls. So it's very powerful because I think it was at the time, it's still very hard to say vagina in public. And there were definitely a lot of actresses who passed or were scared or were too shy or said no. And, what was interesting about it, and we were just talking about this on our panel about women's stories, but what was interesting about it is that every time I would have a new cast of 3 women, at some point, during the rehearsal day, somebody would have their own monologue. Do you know what I mean? Somebody would just all of a sudden start talking about how they were abused by a family member, or it triggered, their own stories. And so I felt like I had to direct the play, I had to direct these actresses in these pieces, but I also became sort of a space holder for these very deep, intimate stories they would share with me off stage, and then the audience as well. And that's why our project, Midlife Monologues, we're saying it's in the legacy of Vagina Monologues are inspired by, because there is something, right, about these women's stories that you just...
And we can finally talk about it.
Yeah.
And not have the stigma
and they ripple,
of aging
ripple.
Of this or what's happened, and just giving a light to women in all stages of life. So how did you all come together to do this project?
How did we?
Well,
a really good friend, Catherine.
Yeah, we had a mutual friend who, when I had the idea and I first was oh, it's Menopause Monologues, I was I'm just going to ask my friends, because menopause wasn't even being talked about as much as it was in almost a year ago. And I was is this a great idea? What is this? Would you be a part of this? Would you share a story? And I asked a varied amount of people. And one of the people that was in this group that I sent the email to, she was this is the greatest idea ever. And you're not going to believe this, but do you want me to introduce you to my friend who directed the Vagina Monologues? And I said, what? How is that even possible that of this small little group that I kind of was gauging interest, you would know the one person that I need to be connected with. And then, I mean, we got on a Zoom and I was like, I have this crazy idea and I can't do it basically without you. So what do you think? And then, you know, people have been trying to get her to do a documentary about menopause or midlife. And it just, you know, and she was like, it hasn't felt right. It hasn't, I don't know what it is. And then she was like, but this is it. Yeah. This is what it is. So.
Okay. And so explain briefly what it is. You've talked to many of your peers, actors, friends to interview them. Like explain what the Menopause Monologues is.
The Midlife Monologues.
Sorry, not midlife.
No, it's fine.
It's okay.
Same.
No, it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've basically been collecting stories from women in like story salons or dressing room confessionals. And we're basically collecting stories and curating them into a theatrical piece.
And so when does it launch?
Well, we don't have any like dates. We're in total script development.
Yeah, we're in script development. Our goal is for the play to come out in 2026.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the 30th anniversary of the Vagina Monologues in 2026.
That's
so
crazy.
It feels like we should take the baton.
Yeah.
It's our
30th
turn.
anniversary. I know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, good for you. I'm so excited about the work you're doing.
Thank you.
And just normalizing women and all of our aging. Who cares? Like, I'm grateful to be here. The older we get and we get we're healthy and we get to share our stories and normalize all of the menopause, midlife.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. It's like in Europe, women who age are held up on a pedestal and revered for their wisdom and their experience, and women go to them to talk to them and get their advice. But in America, we have a real problem with letting women age. And like that's kind of our motto, or I should say my motto is I was just, you know, let us age.
Yeah.
Just let us age. It feels like, why is that so difficult? I don't understand.
Well, keep doing your great
Thank you so
work.
much. And good luck with your book. Thank you. Yeah, I
Thank
can't
you
wait
for-
to read it.
Thank you.
The big silence. It's time to sing.